Kia ora, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This is Get Everything You Need to Know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With news, inflation stress is building worldwide and will have an increasing influence on elections and the ability of governments to hold on to office. Firstly, in China, the pandemic emergency is not improving there. In fact, it's getting worse in Shanghai. It is hard to know how bad it is elsewhere with a broadening clampdown on news reports. The risk to global supply chains are rising and not falling. The depth of their economic retreat isn't obvious, and we're left seeking signals in oblique ways like calls for helping hands. More directly, vehicle sales in China fell by 11% in March compared with the same month a year ago. And house buying there is in the doldrums too. And overseas money is starting to pull out of Chinese markets. Foreign investors sold a net $9 billion in Chinese stocks and bonds in the first quarter of 2022, nearly the highest outflow on record. And Japanese consumer confidence fell again, and this survey is now at its lowest level in a year. Apart from the pandemic shock, we haven't seen such Japanese glumness since the GFC crisis. But Taiwanese exports rose at a fast clip again. But now this is expected, and the latest March data didn't beat estimates. But in value terms, this was their best month ever, and by a long shot, nearly 5% more than the prior record set in November 2021. Taiwanese CPI inflation is up too, up at 3.3%, which is fast for them and the highest there in 10 years. And the Indian central bank left its policy rate unchanged at 4%, but they're now talking about shifting to tighter settings soon, prioritising the inflation fight rather than growth. They are talking of tectonic upward shifts in food prices. And the big global news is that food prices rose very sharply in March, pushing on up to all-time records. In fact, the rise from February was the largest one-month jump ever, and the rise from early 2020 has been relentless and fast. All categories of food rose fast, but it was most noticeable for cereals, which jumped 70% in 1 month alone. We have a looming global food crisis, one that will hit developing and emerging markets very hard and possibly return billions to poverty. An ex-UN food boss is urging calm, but that is necessary because a sense of panic is developing over the situation. The Australian election has been called for about the last possible legal date, May 21. And the end of last week in the US, there was another heady rise in benchmark bond yields, although things settled back at the close of Wall Street's Friday session. The US Treasury 10-year yield will start the week at 2.70%, so that's a 32 basis point rise for the week. And the price of gold starts today at $1,947 an ounce, and that's $4 higher than this time on Saturday. And oil prices a little changed today from Saturday at $97.50 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent prices are just over $102 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar will open today unchanged at 68.5 US cents. Against the Australian dollar, we're marginally firmer at 91.9 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're still at 63 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just over 74.2 and 30 basis points lower for the week. We welcome your feedback. Leave a comment below or on our website. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.